Alright, here we are in the final part of this dungeon. This is the left hallway, and I have a lot to say, so I'm going to talk pretty quickly. In my opinion, this is the hardest part of the dungeon. There's a couple problems that you need to be aware of. One is the little elementals. As you can see, when they die, they cast an ability. That ability stacks a dot debuff on anybody who's nearby. Those little guys come from two places. One, this water on the left, and two, when the large ones die, they also spawn more little ones. The large ones, they cast an ability that you just saw right there, that large flashing light. That's called Surge, and that does a substantial amount of damage to everybody within 60 yards. So for all intents and purposes, it is unavoidable. So the approach to this dungeon, in my opinion, is to pace yourself so that you're only fighting as many enemies as you absolutely have to if your group is low. So you can only fight, the first two large ones you can fight one at a time, and then these last two you can fight, you have to fight two at a time. As you can see, this group, including myself, is doing it wrong, and we ran into a little bit of trouble. But the idea is to pace yourself so that you're only fighting one or two of those large elementals, and then almost everything else will fall into place. But actually, as is more often the case, you end up with a situation like we just had, because in order for that run to go smooth, everybody, including all the DPS, need to be on their A game, and they need to know what's going on, and that really never happens. So as a healer, expect to use some emergency heals, and as a tank, expect to blow some defensive cooldowns. And I will, if I get a chance and I get a group that does it correctly with a low-level tank or healer, I will try to post that into the addendum of this video. Alright, this boss is so easy that there's really nothing to say much right now. In this first phase, kill everything. It's mostly the tank just has to run around, everybody else just DPS. There's no danger of anybody dying, even if, you know, the tank loses aggro or somebody stands in that. There is very, very little chance that anybody's going to get hurt. Also, let's see, while I've got a little bit of free time, you're going to see an editing mistake up in a few seconds, so just ignore that. But while I've got some time, I'm going to talk about the other hallway, why I skipped it. And this group did run that other hallway, and I will add that to the addendum. But I skipped it because the boss is a real pain in the ass, and it's one of those ones where you have to run out of your way and then back. And in my opinion, and in most people's opinions, it's not worth the XP or the justice points, and most groups skip it as it is optional. We're still in phase 1 here, but pretty soon we'll be approaching, or we'll be coming into phase 2 out of 3. And the second phase, I'm going to start talking about it now because it's a little bit more involved. You're going to see stationary ads appearing around the boss. There's going to be 3 of them. The DPS needs to hit them. There's that stationary ad right now. The DPS needs to hit them. They will not fight back. They just channel into the boss like so. And the tank, he needs to kite these large slug-looking guys around the area while the DPS does their job. All the while, you need to avoid that black stuff on the ground, which will not hurt immediately, but if you stand in it and continues to stack a debuff, and you can get 30 or 40 stacks of that, and then people will be dying in a hurry. And you will, of course, be blamed as the healer, but just know that that stuff falls randomly from the sky, and that's really the only danger here if the tank is doing their job. The DPS should not DPS those slugs. They should just work on the medium-sized guys, the stationary guys. And then I'm going to start talking about the third phase because that one goes even faster. Presently, we will finish up that last one, and then all this black on the ground, and we grow up, and we have a lot more hit points, a lot more health, etc., etc. The idea is to hit that octopus that I just glanced at. A lot of DPS, or some DPS I should say, don't know this. As a healer, you need to heal through the black stuff that's on the ground. As you can see, all the group mates are taking that dot. And it's unavoidable. So if anybody dies here, it is your fault. The only thing that you need to be aware of is that spacing, although it looks like we're all very close together right now, we are in fact as far apart as if we were the normal size. So you'll see We're going to shrink down. Everybody looks next to each other. Up, but look, it turns out the tank is actually out of range right now, even though he looked about an arm's length away. So just be aware of that. If anybody dies there as the healer, it is indeed your fault. As always, wait for it. The timing is tough with these with these audio. As always, there we go. Good game. Thank you. Peace.